The gentleman, for what purpose does the gentleman rise? The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes, without objection.
This week, the House will take a historic vote, probably very late toward the end of the week, late in the evening, giving the pharmaceutical industry and its allies the maximum amount of time to beat back a provision of law that would lower the price of prescription drugs for every American, not just those on Medicare, but every American. Let's use a couple of examples here. This is a simple vote. It would allow Americans to reimport without limit American manufactured, FDA certified, safe drugs from Canada back into the United States. The interesting thing about these drugs is they're manufactured in the United States of America, but when they take a vacation to Canada, their price drops dramatically. Because the government of Canada, unlike the government of the United States, with the exception of the Veterans Department and some other agencies of the Pentagon, and negotiates with the pharmaceutical industry and negotiates lower prices. They use market forces to benefit the people of Canada. Now, the Republicans here in the House, bizarrely enough, are offering a $400 billion prescription drug benefit for seniors that is based in subsidies to the private insurance industry and supporting the outrageous list price for drugs, which no one pays except the uninsured, but they would mandate that that be done. They would outlaw the United States government, from negotiating lower prices, unlike the government of Canada, the government of Great Britain, the governments of all the EU, virtually every other government in the world. Almost every country in the world, you can buy U.S. manufactured, FDA certified drugs for a substantial discount below the price at which those drugs are made available here. In the case of one drug for glaucoma, Xalatan, the cost in the U.S. is $631 a year. If you buy it in Canada, it's $429 a year. If the government negotiated, as the VA does, you can get it for $336 a year. But under the brilliant Republican plan here in the House, a drug that costs $631 a year will cost a senior $746. They'll pay actually more than the drug costs today, list price. This is the grand new benefit that they're going to deliver at a cost of $400 billion. We could lower the price of drugs more substantially for every American, particularly those on Medicare, by simply voting for and allowing the safe reimportation of U.S. manufactured, FDA certified drugs from Canada. Plain and simple. Now you're going to hear a whole host of reasons why that's a bad idea. Well, it'll hurt their profits. Yes, it will hurt their profits. And they say, well, if our profits go down, we won't do the research. That's a lie. The pharmaceutical industry makes its money on new drugs. They get an exclusive 17-year patent for those drugs. That's their profit center. The last thing that's going to go is the research, because that's where they're going to make their money. Maybe they'll cut the obscene salaries of the CEOs. Maybe they could get by on $2 or $3 million a year instead of 40 or 60. Maybe they'll cut the billions that they're spending to direct promote their drugs on television, something that was outlawed by the FCC and the FDA until quite recently, and something that's very problematic to get people induced to go out and buy a particular drug, to go into their doctor who's pushed for time and say, I want that purple pill. I saw it on television. Well, that's not what you need. I want the purple pill. I said, okay, I've only got 10 minutes. You're out of here. You got the prescription. Doctors tell me they do that. So if they saved those billions, they cut the salaries and some of their other overhead and administrative costs, they'd still have plenty of money to do the research, and they could still earn a good profit, but Americans would pay 40 or 50% less for their drugs. They say this legislation will kill people. They claim somehow the drugs that took a vacation to Canada have become unsafe while they were there. They say this will keep killing people in the United States of America today, the fact that they can't afford life-saving drugs. There are seniors in my district who divide their drugs in half. There's seniors in my district, couples, where they decide which one is going to get the critical drugs this month because they can't afford to buy all of them because they don't have a benefit. That is killing people. Bringing back U.S. manufactured, FDA certified drugs from Canada is not going to kill people. It will kill obscene profits on the part of this industry because they are gouging America's seniors. America's seniors are paying twice as much as people in Canada for many drugs, and even more if you go across the border to Mexico. So this is going to be a simple vote, but it's going to be a vote on which millions of dollars are unleashed to send false messages and try and pressure members of Congress to vote against the interests of all Americans who would be healthier and benefit from less expensive drugs. And we could do this through the miracle of market forces and, yes, even free trade. I voted against the NAFTA agreement. I think it stinks and it's killing jobs in this country. But guess what? Probably prohibiting the reimportation of drugs is NAFTA illegal, but no one ever files a complaint when these NAFTA illegal things benefit the big corporations, only when they benefit people. And this Congress is going to try and stop changes in that situation.
Mr. Norwood from Georgia.